And here you are, a TV personality who's before the television or a movie camera, and yet you going into court were nervous.
Because I didn't know what to expect. And I mean, the first thing I thought about was, gosh, I hope my lawyer has all the facts straight so that he can defend me to the best of his ability. But the one question that really I had to struggle with was, how should I be dressing to go to court? I mean, am I trying to impress the judge? And I mean, what do you tell clients before they go to court?
It's almost a silly question, but yet a very valid question, because what you dress in is probably the least important element in the judge's decision on that case.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's one that causes people a lot of anxiety. How do I dress? How do I look? Do I wear my hair up? Do I wear my hair down? Do I put on a lot of makeup? Do I want to look wealthy, or do I want to look impoverished to gain the sympathy of the judge? And also, we live in a society where, quite frankly, people do form first impressions based on physical appearance. So someone might come before a judge, and the judge may have already reached a decision based simply on what assumptions that they are applying based on the person's appearance. So clearly, the way we look in front of a judge, or quite frankly anywhere, is going to have some impact on how we are perceived by the person that we are trying to make an impression on. And in family court, of course, it's the judge.
Right.
So how do you dress? My typical recommendation is dress as though you're going to church, to temple, to synagogue. Dress conservatively. Don't try to impress. Don't understate your appearance. In other words, don't try to dress down to appear
like you don't take it
poor.
seriously.
That's right. Some people, for example, come to court in family court wearing shorts and a baseball cap. And the judge or the judge's clerk will say, can you please remove your baseball cap? And that's probably not the best foot to start off on.
Right.
For example, I'll answer the question about the role in a sec, but sometimes my best advice to the client is don't say a word, because everybody wants to have their, quote, day in court.
Right.
So they hear all these people talking, the other side is talking, their ex-spouse is talking, the lawyers are talking, the judge is talking, sometimes the court clerks are talking. Well, how come they don't get a chance to talk? They're the ones paying the bill. It's their lives in the balance. They want to speak too. The role of the lawyer is to present the client's case in the very best light possible. Sometimes that involves saying very little, because the judge may have already arrived at a conclusion that's favorable to the client. Why in any way taint that? So sometimes the best advice is absolutely say nothing. Just look serious, don't smile, don't gloat. Just sit there and observe and participate. In fact, watching the Michael Jackson trial over the television over these last few weeks, you've got all these people reaching conclusions on how Michael is appearing at his trial. Is he looking at the jury? Is he looking down? Is he smiling? So the reality is there is something to be said about how you conduct yourself, even in silence, in a courtroom.